Hello, LinkedIn. It's me, Dennis, and I'm here with Tracy DeJarnett. Hello, Tracy.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Very well, and long time no talk to. So we're going to get back to, I need to catch up with you, and we need to reintroduce you through my eyes to our LinkedIn audience. So please share with me what you have been up to.
Well, I've been a marketer for a long time. I've done marketing in corporate. I've had my own agency. And about 2017, I got the bug for music. And I started kind of unraveling or discovering what that means. And my first intention was to bring people together. I wanted to create a really interesting space with a festival and bring people together and bring joy to people with, great music. And we went out into the country in Cat Spring, Texas. That was the first event I ever did. And it was amazing. I was hooked, absolutely 100% hooked. We raised money for animal rescue. We had live music with Houston musicians. We had all this great stuff. And I quickly realized how much talent we have here in Houston and, Texas in general. I mean, it's hard to grow. It's hard to put a boundary around it, but that's where I sit is in Houston. So I'm going to start there. But, quickly I'm meeting people up in Dallas and Waco and Austin, of course, and Galveston. I mean, you name it. There's just amazing original talent here. And I've been navigating that for a while now, since 2017, and starting to hone in on a music platform that I'm pretty excited about.
So tell me about it. What would this music platform look like? What would it feel like? How would I access it? How are you thinking about this as a brander? Because what you have done over your career is that you have been this iconic brander. You've been able to take people's brands and move them forward. You have been able to empower businesses and to empower people to be able to succeed. So now that you've latched onto this, how are you going to do that? What does it look like, feel like, taste like?
When I think about my career, the things that I got most excited about was creating experiences with a brand, whatever that is, things that are not off the shelf, things you can't buy, creating experiences that you're going to walk away from with a smile on your face or engaged or, whatever that is that we want to convey. And I try to do that with music and create these unique experiences. So I first started Houston Live. And our mission with Houston Live is to discover, support, and promote artists, period. Our focus is across Texas. We sit here in Houston, so certainly Houston first and then beyond. And then I was approached about starting a music publishing business. And that was intriguing to me because, our Houston Live community started at about, or ended up at about 1,700 songwriters, give or take. And so we have this amazing creative community. So where do we go from here? And that made sense. So I teamed up with a studio owner here and a music publisher in LA, who's also a very accomplished songwriter, and started putting the pieces together. And then we decided, no, we're really an artist development company. So, and yet there's another side to that. You can create music all day long, but if you don't have the fans to appreciate them, then you've only got half the equation. So I realized how important, obviously, fans are in this. So engaging fans, engaging brands. So I've teamed up with a couple of really interesting venues around Houston to do booking and, experiential type events. And so we've created our first Song Camp 23, is what we're calling it, here in Houston, March 31st, April 1st. And we're going to open up the studio to 10 writers to come write with gold and platinum level writers. One coming in from LA, Stephen McClinton. We've got Dickie Kaiser, he's in the Hill Country, Kevin Fisher. A lot of these folks have gone through Nashville, have a lot of credits to their name. And they're going to come in and they're going to sit in a studio with 10 of our artists that sign up and write. And then beyond that, we're going to invite fans and artists and all that to a music industry mixer. And Houston is not known for music. And that's what I'm most excited about is,
You know, the home of Beyonce, the home of, where
Right.
maybe it's just not known overall, but maybe there's a bigger bed that you're getting a chance to leverage.
Yeah, I mean, there is a music economy that's pretty exciting, right? So it's not just the music, but it's the money, it's
Yes.
the growth, the community that builds around that. It's healing. There's a very healing element to music. You know, when the pandemic hit and we are all locked down and our venues are shut down, and it was hard for me to see the long faces. And I mean, we all felt that, right? And it just was a really dark time. So we opened up our porch and live streamed from there with artists who wanted to volunteer their time and perform. And we raised money for the venues that had to shut down. But what I noticed through that is all the neighbors and the people on the bikes and the people walking by, they sat down and sat on the curb or, stood there with their bike at a safe distance outside enjoying this music, and they were smiling. It was joy. And I picked up a sponsor that way. It was a realtor walking by, said, "This is phenomenal. I want to do more of this." And so music is it's infectious. People, it's hard to not love it, whether you like one genre over another, doesn't matter. My only
Yeah.
rule is that it's family friendly because I do family friendly events. That's it. Can be any genre. And I'm really excited to be part of that. And Houston just started a Houston Music Advisory Board with they created and hired a director of music tourism in Houston. How cool is that? So,
That
yeah.
is wonderful. So so you're seeing all this grow.
Mm.
Can you go back a little bit about what did music, can you go back to your angel, the one that whispered in your ear that said, music, this is the way. What, were you always musically oriented? Did you play and sing and perform, or did you have or were you an appreciator like someone like me might be?
If I go way back, I always had my soundtrack for life. Like I was always playing music. That was my go-to. If something was tough, if something was great, music was my place to celebrate and a place to get, encouraged, whatever it was. And I always envisioned myself on stage, always. Now,
Well, you've always been on stage. This has
I,
been part of who you are. This is your personality, Tracy.
well, I've never sung on stage. That's what's interesting. But I have, for all the brand work that I did and marketing that I did, I would take the stage and talk about whatever it was,
Yes.
usually a campaign or whatever. And I loved it, loved every minute of it. Now I'm kind of behind the stage, like putting people on stage and creating these experiences and showcasing up and coming talent. But yeah, if I go way back, I'm a writer in heart. So I write songs, you know. And this has actually encouraged me to write more. And the more I do this, the more I'm connecting with other amazing writers, right? I mean, right here in Texas, we've got some number ones with Cody Johnson, right, coming out from writers here in Nashville. Just amazing. Location is funny, right? Because what we learned through the pandemic, although I've always loved the idea of working remotely, is you could be anywhere and write. Thank you, Zoom. We can we can write from anywhere. Zoom was probably could be credited, I don't know how you want to put it, for a lot of great writes during the pandemic. So you can write anywhere, but we're here in Houston, so we're going to
Right.
start there. And Houston's known as an energy town, a medical town. We've got one of the world's largest medical centers. What's great about Houston is we do things big, right? It might take us a while. We're not a promoter town. Dallas is a little
Exactly.
bit more
Dallas is the
promoted.
promo. I was thinking exactly the
Yeah,
same thing.
Dallas. And I
Dallas is
came
the
from Dallas.
Zaz, but
Yeah.
Houston, and what I love about it is that you're breaking out of the boxes, because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing about women empowerment around the world. We're seeing the breaking out of the boxes, because to me, that's the only way we're going to survive. Because the women who are coming into leadership roles around, women understand, from my perspective, the role of collaboration, the role of synergy, the role of 1 + 1 is greater than 2, synchronicity, understand all these incredibly valuable tools that we as men, who are so one-pointed, who have this one strive drive as our, this is where the learning, because the world is too complex to be able to do it just on a zero sum, I got to get mine and take it from you in order to be able to succeed kind of perspective. So that to me is what's so valuable, excuse the soapbox, about having women and getting women into these leadership roles, which you've always been. I mean, you've been a woman who's stood in a leadership roles in every single place that you've ever gone.
Reluctant leader, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
And I know that's not a question, but I want you to take it from there and take it from anything that I've
Yeah,
said, and continue on with it, because that's my beat. That's my heartbeat, is empowering women and seeing that happen, whether I'm working with men to empower women or women to empower women.
I was reflecting on this yesterday. The way society treats families and women is where the society goes. And it's really a critical ingredient to having a healthy community, a healthy society. And that's not to say you don't treat everyone well. It's just how you treat those women and families.
Yep.
That's an indicator of how healthy your community is. And
It's a big one. Absolutely.
it's true. I want to extrapolate something from that, because when you're thinking about a brand, when you're thinking about how to identify and create, uh, you're really creating a brand from within. If you hit the nail on the head, you're not creating it, you're unveiling it, right? You're understanding it so well that you can convey it in a really crisp way. And Houston, we've tried many times over many years to try to brand it Space City, Third Coast. There's been a lot of efforts over the years, and while those are all true, I didn't feel like it encapsulates the full experience that is Houston. And music is an element of that too. So I don't want to just say it's a music town and leave it there, because it's so much more. And I've spent some time with some strategists that are working on various elements of, the intersection of songwriting and innovation, for example, and creativity. And, how do you get to that space and create something from scratch? Songwriters know a lot about that, right? So we can learn from them. Houston, I've gotten some of my best clients in the Starbucks line. Now, if I go to New York, do you think that's true?
No.
New York has other wonderful things. They have amazing stages. They have the time and a place where you go and meet and connect, but it's not anywhere, anytime. In Houston, we just have this innate ability to connect and help one another. You're only like one call or one connection away from some help that you need. And it's in our culture here to do that. And so if you want to come here from wherever and start a business, when I moved here back to Houston from Austin, I said, who are the 5 people I need to meet? Because I kind of learned this lesson, right? Whatever you want to start, there's probably 5 people who can help you get there really a lot faster than trying to go to 100 people. And I did. I got introduced to 5 people, and before I knew it, I was, connected into the community that I wanted to be connected into, and really learning quickly. And that was just a couple of weeks. Houston has that. It's in our culture, and I don't know how you brand that yet, or there's a lot of thoughtful reflection on that, but that is something special, and maybe women have an advantage in that,
Well,
being
it's been
connectors, just
exactly.
amazing.
I feel
Yeah.
about Houston is such a diverse
Mm.
place. The diversity is such a power in it. But I love the way that you framed it, is that we help one another. We lift one another up. If there's someone that needs it, doesn't matter whether it's during Harvey or whether it's whatever the situation is that there always is someone we're willing to help one another and lift one another up to be able rather than climb over one another. And that's something that is really holy.
Yeah. Wow. The cameras that were let in during Harvey, very moving, right?
Yeah.
So, we had an open door policy with all the cameras coming in, and I could see right actually just a couple blocks from my house. Thankfully, we're on high ground, but we're just a couple blocks from the bayou. And there was a live rescue on TV of a man who didn't realize how deep it would be running into the, you know, overflowing bayou. And when something like that happens, I guess you tend to go in shock. And so he didn't do anything. He didn't get out of his car. He didn't, and it was quickly going under and getting swept away. And the I don't remember what news station it was, but the reporter was yelling, and everybody started jumping in for him to swim to shore. And it was just this collective, effort to save this man. And you saw a lot of those things around the city. And I don't know that that's unique to Houston, but it's
No,
consistent in
but it
Houston.
is, I love how you said that. It's not unique, but it is consistent to Houston. It's part of what we do because i- ideally this would be something that happens everywhere. But if Houston can lead in this, if Houston can lead into this synergistic opportunity to be able to lift all of us up and to be able to know that that's what we can do. And that's what I love about what you're doing, Tracy. And that's what I love about your art and your advocacy. And it's such an important thing.
Thank you. Yeah, Houston is like the big ship. It doesn't turn quickly, but once it does, it's a force. So uh, the big industries that we have here, um, I think music is about to be one of them. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Tracy, is there anything else that we haven't talked about on this edition of the LinkedIn profiles video profiles that you have? Anything we haven't talked about that's important right now that you want to make sure and share with our LinkedIn audience?
Well, I was just reflecting on the last time we spoke was, I don't know how long ago that was, many years ago, and I was at a point in my life, and probably you too, where I didn't know where things were going to go. I was talking about taking the leap and, you know, just trusting that the trapeze, handlebar is going to be there when you take that big leap, having that leap of faith. And then fast forward to now, taking a couple of leaps of faith since then, and now on the cusp of building a platform. It's pretty exciting. So I would just throw that in, that anybody that's out there that's on that edge going, what's going to happen next, and that uncertainty, take that leap. It is so worth it.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm going to continue leaping with you and we'll continue to connect on that. And thank you for being on this edition of LinkedIn Profiles video edition for us. And I look forward to talking with you and to everybody very soon.
This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversations has been brought to you in part by In Search of the New Compassionate Male. For more information, go to newcompassionatemale.com.